Niñez Olivares is the editor of a left-wing newspaper, the Daily Tribune. She doesn't believe the army would ever join forces with communist rebels.
They don't have any evidence with which to back up their charges. All they wanted to do was to do a martial law in disguise. That's what really happened. Then she found out she couldn't do it well because she doesn't have the military solidly behind her.
For the first 2 years of her presidency, Gloria Arroyo had strong support from the military, but it didn't last long.
Pangalan ng mga magigiting at sundalo nito, dahil doon na namin iparating ang bayang Pilipino at kami hindi mga terorista. Kami mga sundalong tumayo.
She had her first taste of rebellion in 2003, when a group of Special Forces troops took over and booby-trapped an apartment complex in central Manila and declared a mutiny against her. The soldiers would eventually surrender after a 20-hour standoff, but Arroyo's troubles had only just begun. Last year, Arroyo was accused of electoral fraud when tapes were released of telephone conversations she had with election officials during the 2004 election.
Hello? Hello, ma'am. Good morning. Okay, ma'am.
The conversations clearly suggesting a massive vote-rigging effort.
So, will I still lead by more than 1 M? More or less, it's that advantage, ma'am. Parang ganun din ang lalabas. Ito na bilis ng 1 M? Pipilitin mo natin niya, pero as of the other day, it's 9:02. Kaya nga eh. I also regret taking so long to speak before you on this matter.
Surviving impeachment efforts against her, Arroyo expressed regret, but few took her apology seriously.
Let me tell you how I feel personally. I recognize that making any such call was a lapse in judgment. I am sorry.
In fact, the evidence about vote rigging in the 2004 election has continued to mount. Just last month, photos taken on a mobile phone were released, showing soldiers using crude techniques to change votes and stack the result.
She just keeps on saying, I won the elections fair and square. Everybody knows she cheated, and everybody also knows that the military was used by her to cheat for her.
For a broadsheet, the Daily Tribune is a small operation, but its bite is big. The government has long expressed its displeasure with Niñez Olivares and her team of journalists who often run stories critical of President Arroyo.
We've been coming up with a lot of exposés. That's a lot of dirt that we've been digging up on the palace, on corruption, on military restiveness, and all this stuff that she doesn't want out.
So it was no surprise when the day after martial law was declared that police mounted a midnight raid on the Tribune's offices. Although no one was arrested, police shut down the printing presses and took away files on the pretext of investigating charges of sedition. Niñez says it was clearly a threat.
It was meant as a message, as a message from Arroyo that the media had better shape up or this is going to happen to you.
If there is evidence to prove that people, not even the media or anyone, commit seditious charges or sedition, then the law has to take its course. No one is above the law, whether they belong to the media, a private citizen, a congressman, or a police officer for that matter. For as long as he violates the law, then we will uphold the law.
What you saw also just there was a confrontation between Colonel Sagumalian and the general. Wait, we're seeing the arrival of attack now. We don't know whose side they're on.
While there may have been growing dissatisfaction in the military beforehand, when Arroyo declared martial law on February 24th, it triggered a near mutiny just 2 days later.
Marine tank there, bigla na lang dumating. We don't know whose side they're on or what their intention is. Ang alam lang natin, itong mga sundalong nakahilera dito ay mga supporters ni Colonel Querubin. Oo, mukhang iba ang sinasabi.
With several army officers taken into custody for allegedly plotting a coup d'etat, Colonel Querubin and his Marines battalion began an extraordinary standoff with the regular army command.
Pinakita ko na, sir. Pinakita ko na ng masama loob namin kasi marista ito. Naluloko na tayo.
Sige, pasok ka na muna. Pasok ka muna.
Sir, kausapin ko, sir, muna.
Huwag mong kausapin yan kasi hindi mo nga chain of command yun eh. Mga
Pwede, sir,
ito eh.
yung tropa ko, sir. Pa-secure ko lang, sir, ka-history ko, sir.
Oo, sige, sige.
With tanks lined up against the battalion barracks and tensions high, the standoff was only resolved when Colonel Querubin agreed to respect the new chain of command and surrender. The government now claims that the Marines had hoped to spark a people power style revolt by joining students in their Friday demonstration on the day martial law was declared. It says that overt political involvement by the army could not be tolerated.